Part 4. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 31. Zhang Zizai never expected that two important figures would come to visit him early the next morning, wanting to see him. The elders of Zilan Mansion greeted him respectfully. But the other party didn't need to entertain him, he just wanted to see Zhang Zizai alone. These are two distinguished guests. They saved your life yesterday. You must be respectful. The elders knew that Zhang Zizai had been accustomed to lawlessness since he was a child, and they were afraid that he would offend others, so they hurriedly warned him on the way. Zhang Zizai knew who was coming. He thought they had already left Dajiangqing City. Arriving at the front hall, the enchanting woman in a white dress sat on a chair, her legs slightly crossed, an intoxicating smile on her face, lazy and delicate, looking at Zhang Zizai ambiguously. "My dear, your home is really luxurious. It's so interesting to see a rich second generation from a declining family. That mind-blowing feeling is still so exciting." Zhang Zizai gritted his teeth. He didn't dare to look directly at this woman's beautiful face, because it was like a whirlpool that could make people freeze on the spot. "Raise your head and let me take a good look." Zhang Zizai couldn't stand her teasing anymore. However, when he looked at her, her misty eyes still made Zhang Zizai a little distracted. Seeing him like this, Zhu Xian couldn't help but laugh. "Two seniors, come to me and ask me if you have any orders. This person next to you is a senior, but I am not. Don't call me old, or I'll pull out your tongue." Zhu Xian pouted slightly, and his charming appearance made him even more charming and adorable. "Yes," Zhang Zizai could only nod. The other party can be said to be a lifesaver. Zhang Zizai naturally has a great impression of them. Facing them now, he feels more grateful. Then Xiao Yushan coughed and said, "You are a disciple of the Sacrifice Temple and one of our own. We are looking for you today. There is something we need you to do. If you can't do it, don't leak the news. Do you understand?" Zhang Zizai said quickly, "Don't worry, you two. As long as I can help, I will do my best. If I can't help, I will keep it secret." Juxian nodded, seemingly satisfied with his answer. Her bright eyes gradually brightened and she said, "We are going to the Black Collar Mountains next to the royal city to find a place called the Black Soul Abyss. You are the leader here, just find us someone who can lead the way to Black Soul Abyss. Of course, keep everything confidential." Black Soul Abyss. Zhang Zizai was startled. The Black Collar mountain range, like a collar, surrounds Dajiangqing City and firmly protects it. The city has only one exit to the east, making it easy to defend but difficult to attack. The 5 Kailan Meridians naturally often hunt and exercise in the Black Collar Mountains. There are also some villages and towns scattered in the vast Black Collar Mountains. The Black Soul Abyss is a dead place in the Black Collar Mountains, surrounded by fog all year round. It is said that there are also quite powerful source beasts. It is a place that ordinary villagers dare not approach. Of course, most people can't find the Black Soul Abyss at all. What are they going to do in the Black Soul Abyss? Is this a mission to worship the temple? Zhang Zizai didn't ask any more questions. He quickly said, "I have a brother. His ancestors were hunters in the Black Collar Mountains. His father often takes him back to worship his ancestors. Once I heard him say that there is a Black Soul Abyss near his ancestral land. I believe it is the place you two mentioned. He should be able to find the Black Soul Abyss." "Your brother? Oh, he's Lu Yuan's son. I remember that Lu Yuan's ancestor was an Orion." Xiao Yushan nodded, but he didn't expect that he also knew Lu Dingxing's father. Juxian smiled and said, "Then the relationship should be very good, then it's settled, you and your brother will come with us to the Black Soul Abyss. When I meet her, I am fascinated every moment. How wonderful it would be if I had the opportunity to spend time with her day and night. It's okay to be with such a beauty. Why, You still don't want to? Juxian's seductive eyes seemed to have penetrated into his heart, and he couldn't refuse at all. Zhang Zizai hesitated for a moment, and then said, "It would be no problem in normal times, but now, you two probably know about my family's situation. There is something going on. They may forcefully marry my sister in a month and a half." So shameless, Juxian was a little surprised. In fact, Zhang Zizai is very smart. Even at this time, he is still calm. From the previous conversation between these two people with Nangongke, as well as the powerful sacrificial temple behind them, it can be seen that they are probably the only people who can help him. In other words, now is the time when there is the most lack of backers. If there were backers like them, there might be hope of overcoming the current difficulties. Since they still have a place where they can use themselves, it is natural for them to think about their family at this time. As expected, the 9 immortals pondered for a moment, and then said, "Don't worry about it. Firstly, it's a back and forth trip. If it's quick, it can be done in 20 days. Secondly, if everything goes well, we will sacrifice the temple disciples at home. If you have some troubles, as long as you take care of things, it won't be a problem if we can help you a little bit." Zhang Zizai was pleasantly surprised. Unexpectedly, they were really willing to help me. But he still had some doubts in his heart. You must know that helping their family is almost equivalent to confronting the Yanlong Emperor. Even the mysterious figure who worships the temple cannot go his own way. Don't think too much. The other party is so arrogant and still holds the Holy Dragon Emperor sword in his hand. At most, when they want to execute you, we can save you. As for other aspects, it is not convenient for us to take action, Juxian said. For Zhang Zizai, this is enough. Although it is a little risky to leave for 20 days. After all, Zhang Yuning and the others are at home and can't support it. However, in order to let these two help a little occasionally, it is worth a gamble. After all, no one in their family is willing to help now. Even the people in Zilan Mansion are running away. It is precious that the other party can help a little at this time. Xiao Yushan looked at Zhang Zizai and suddenly said, "Zhang Yunting is my junior brother when I was in the sacrifice temple. He helped me. So that's it? It's my father's friend. Now, most people don't dare to get close to them. No one can tell what happened at the desolate heaven pass. It's precious that he can still appear here. Then it's a deal." Juxian was very happy. She stood up and stretched. The range of her chest and the devilish figure made Zhang Zizai's eyes stare straight. "Don't look at me, kid." She blinked her eyes, and that look made Zhang Zizai blush instantly. He suddenly thought, in fact, if he wanted to lead the way, Lu Dingxian could go alone. Why must he drag himself along, and he couldn't lead the way? He couldn't figure it out. "Of course, if you successfully lead us to the Black Soul Abyss, I can give you some rewards in private." Juxian came forward. She had an intoxicating fragrance on her body, not pungent, but pleasant, just right. Now that he was close to her, he could see her breathtakingly beautiful appearance more clearly. Zhang Zizai could only sigh, how could there be such a fairy in this world? "I heard that you have the black dragon totem." She suddenly stretched out her slender hand, and the smooth fingers pressed against Zhang Zizai's eyebrows. At that moment, it was like an electric shock. Buzz. Although he didn't visualize, Zhang Zizai felt that his life sea was shaking, and he seemed a little uneasy. However, the fox totem on the forehead of Juxian in front of him also flickered slightly. At that moment, her face suddenly became ruddy, and a large amount of heaven and earth energy gathered towards her body. It was a wonderful feeling, as if the two totems were originally connected. After that, the look in her eyes when she looked at herself seemed to have changed, and it should be more ambiguous. Being teased like this, her nose was about to bleed. This woman was like a devil that made people dream and dream. Seeing Zhang Zizai like this, her laughter also rang out. So cute, fresh meat is good. Zhang Zizai didn't understand a little bit. What is fresh meat? Why do you say that you are meat? You are not fat. In our hometown, you have no problem being a little star with your appearance. Juxian suddenly seemed to miss it very much. What is a star? The stars in the sky. Zhang Zizai was a little confused. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. Juxian put away her smile, patted Zhang Zizai's chest gently, and said, I happen to have 2 top-grade Chen-level battle tactics here, which I accidentally obtained a few years ago and have never used. One is a body movement, and the other is a battle method. Both are related to the dragon totem, but they are not the abilities of the Yanlong royal family. If you complete the task, it will be a reward. Zhang Zizai was overjoyed. Now that Ruohua is in the evil prison, it is difficult for him to get new battle tactics. He believed that the battle tactics given by Juxian, and they are top-grade Chen-level battle tactics, must be good. The key is that this is given by her. This is enough to be preserved for a long, long time. The fragrance of this beauty is probably retained on the battle tactics. Get ready, tomorrow at Chen time, secretly find us outside the East City Gate. Remember, don't spread it outside, don't let others know. Juxian tapped his forehead with her fingers. Definitely, Zhang Zizai suddenly felt that even if Nangang Ke and others were there, he didn't seem to be afraid. But there are still many doubts in my heart that I can't figure out. When Xiao Yushan left, he looked back at him with a deep look in his eyes. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 32. Late at night. At Huilan's house, a distinguished guest came today. Lord Nangongke, the general of Zhengzi, and Zhang Entropy, the master of the palace, were drinking and chatting happily. Sitting on Nangongque's lap were 2 beauties, disheveled and smiling, feeding him wine. Zhang Entropy asked with a smile on his face, Master Nangang, they are twin sisters. If Master Nangang likes them, they can be taken back tonight. Nangongke was drunk and acted rudely. He stared at the 2 of them for a few times, waved his hands and said, Forget it, I saw the fox worshipping the temple today, and I feel that the whole world is vulgar. Zhang Entropy smiled awkwardly. It is said that many princes and nobles are rejected if they want to see her. Where does this person come from? When it came to business, Zhang Entropy asked the girls to go down first. Nangongke shook his head and said, I don't know where it came from. It's hidden quite deep. However, if it weren't for the Xinyao divine attendant behind it, I wouldn't be polite. It happened that at this time, an informant came to report, and Nangongke had a few words with him in private. Judging from his face, he seemed a little surprised. Zhang Entropy asked, Master Nangang, what's the happy event? Nangongke asked the remaining people to go out, and they, Zhang Zhengzi, and Nangang Fengchen were the only ones left here. Nangongke chuckled and said, My people, after a busy night, finally found out that Xiao Yushan might have come to the Zhangwang city for some reason. What exactly is that? Nangongke looked at Zhang Entropy. Now that Zhang Entropy wanted something from him, he was not worried about Zhang Entropy knowing about it, so he said, This matter is related to a place called Black Soul Abyss near the great Zhongqing city. Black Soul Abyss, Zhang Entropy thought for a while and said, Jun Xie has been to that place before. In the past few years, he often went to the Black Collar Mountains to train. It was a troublesome place. After entering, it was very difficult to get out. Disaster. Zhang Zhengzi next to him nodded and said, Once, I heard from farmers in the mountains that the Black Soul Abyss is over there. Don't get close. I think you can still find it now. Nangongke stared at Zhang Entropy and said in a somewhat amazed tone, A few days ago, it was said that several hunters accidentally entered the Black Soul Abyss and saw some strange things in it. What? Nangongke said, This is not clear, but we have placed someone in the Temple of Sacrifice. The temple of sacrifice seems to be according to the description, and it is inferred that it may be a kind of top evolutionary source given by the ancient gods, the birth of heaven and earth. It allows these two people to personally. What I came to check out is definitely not just a first-level evolutionary source. There are 5 levels of evolutionary sources in the mortal world. A first-level evolution source can increase the totem of a totem martial artist by 1 level. Of course, adaptation is required. Evolution source. After hearing these 3 words, Zhang Entropy couldn't help but stand up. As a totem martial artist, everyone knows how important the source of evolution is. The natal totem determines at least 60% of a person's future. The nature of the true energy, the manifestation of the totem, the natural talents, and the understanding of cultivation are all related to the natal totem. The level of natal totem almost determines a person's talent and capital. The source of evolution is the only divine object in this world that can change and enhance the totem of one's destiny. Many people change their lives against the odds, relying on the source of evolution. When Zhang Yunting first awakened, he was a Xian-level totem, but in the end he was able to become one of the 8 super totems. He achieved the 9 tribulations Kirin totem by relying on totem evolution. Of course, the Flame Dragon Emperor's Flame Emperor Holy Dragon totem evolved from the source of evolution. Of all the treasures in the world, the most important thing is never the spiritual mines or elixirs, but the source of evolution. People regard the source of evolution as the same as the natal totem, a gift from the ancient gods. That's why Zhang Entropy was so excited when he heard the 3 words evolutionary source. However, he quickly calmed down, and he knew that the reason why Nangongke told him was that he definitely needed his help. He also wants Nangongke to help him become the Kailan King. Even if this source of evolution is right in front of him, he would never dare to think about it. So he hurriedly said, "Master Nangong, now that I have received this news, this thing is not sacrificed to the temple now. The so-called ownerless things can be fought for by anyone. I think Master Nangong can go to the Black Soul Abyss. Zhang En, I will do my best to help you." Nangongke looked at him with a half-smile but not a smile. "Palace Master, aren't you a little bit moved?" Zhang Entropy laughed dumbly and said, "Master Nangong is kidding. You help me so much and you are also the respected teacher of my son. I don't know how to thank you, so how can I dare to be moved?" Nangongke didn't even dare to compete with him even though he was there. Indeed, he needed Zhang Entropy's help. After all, he was an outsider and unfamiliar with the place. It would not be easy for him to find the Black Soul Abyss on his own. He pondered for a moment and said, "In that case, prepare yourself and set off in an hour. It will probably take more than half a month to get it done." Zhang Zhengzi quickly asked, "Honored Master, what about the affairs in Daejiang King City?" Nangongke said, "Don't waste time, don't get in the way." He was just curious about what level of evolutionary source the two of them would come to check in person. Nangong Fengchen thought for a while and said, "Jun Xie is going, shall I go too? After all, Zhang Zhengzi needs to lead the way, and there is no point in him staying here. It's just the 4 of us. No one is allowed to leak anything," Nangongke said coldly. "Okay, I'll make arrangements," Zhang Entropy nodded. Unexpectedly, there is news about the source of evolution in the Black Collar Mountains. It's so close, even the Temple of Sacrifice has received the news, but we ourselves don't know. Zhang Entropy was a little depressed. If Nangongke wasn't here, he might still have some chances. If it is possible to find the source of evolution that allows my totem to evolve, allowing me to break through the heaven level and reach the wild level totem, my life will also undergo transformation. Zhang Entropy is a little eager. Zhang Zizai and the others didn't know that another group of people in the same city had found out the news through the appearance of Juxian and the others and left first. Lu Dingxing was a little nervous when he heard that they were 2 big shots. For Zhang Yanning and Ruo Xiaoyu, Zhang Zizai has already made arrangements for them not to go out. Zhang Yanning had been in Yanlong ruins for a while and knew the identities of these two people. It was a glimmer of hope that Zhang Zizai could work for them. "Boss, why haven't they come yet? Boss, are they really willing to help us?" The two of them hid in the woods at the East City Gate, and Lu Dingxing kept asking questions. "Exit from the East City Gate and walk north, which is the direction of Black Soul Abyss." Suddenly, a breeze came, and the familiar fragrance filled the air instantly. When he turned around, the two of them were already standing behind him. Mr. Xiao was still dressed in black and had an indifferent expression. As for the 9 Immortals, she was still wearing a long dress and was extremely beautiful, but today she was actually wearing a white cloak, and the thin white gauze only slightly obscured her appearance. "Fortunately, when we get along like this, the pressure will be less. Otherwise, there will always be a beauty around, and only an old man like Xiao Yishan will turn a blind eye. Let's set off, lead the way." Zhu Xian's soft voice was sweet to the heart. Okay, the strange thing is that Lu Dingxing was not charmed. He didn't do anything and just led the way seriously. "Hey, don't you think she's so pretty?" Zhang Zizai secretly said with the two of them in front. "What, they look pretty, don't they all look the same?" "You can't tell," Lu Dingxing said with wide eyes. Zhang Zizai was confused as to why he felt so intensely. Could it be that the 9 Immortals were using some method to charm him? Still, Lu Dingxing, a pure man, has no normal aesthetics at all. During the first two meetings, the 9 Immortals talked a lot, but this time they were focused on their journey, but they kept following behind without speaking, which made Zhang Zizai a little disappointed. He thought that being with a beautiful woman would lead to laughter and intimacy along the way. In order to save time, Zhang Zizai also moved forward in the emerald green mountains at the fastest speed. The majesty of the mountains and rivers is completely different from the scenery in Dajiangqing City. There are trees everywhere, with fallen leaves piled underfoot and a large number of tree roots emerging from the ground. The southern country is a bit humid, and the water mist in the forest is very heavy. The feeling of being wet and hot makes people feel particularly irritable. Occasionally, when I look back and see Zhu Xian's hot and delicate body, the anger in my heart becomes even more fierce. Only Lu Dingxing could keep going without even looking at the 9 Immortals. In one day, we actually went a long way. In the evening, the sun sets in the west, the sky and the earth begin to darken, and there are many shadows in the forest. After a day of traveling, Zhang Zizai was a little tired, but the two people behind him didn't say a word, so they could only move forward bravely. "Stop!" Suddenly Juxian Jiao shouted. Zhang Zizai and Lu Dingxing quickly stopped and stood still. "Don't move." The 9 Immortals quickly arrived in front of them and looked around cautiously. The surroundings suddenly became extremely silent. There is a special smell in the air, a bit ominous, and some bloody smell, a scalp-numbing sense of crisis, approaching. Whoosh! Suddenly, the bushes in front of them loosened up, and a huge black shadow instantly appeared. A low roar shook the eardrums. Origin beast, Zhang Zizai finally understood. Indeed, there are origin beasts in the Black Collar Mountains. They are in the wilderness now, not in a village. At night, this is where the origin beasts come and go to look for food. His hair stood on end. In the blink of an eye, a ray of light suddenly flew out from behind and passed before Zhang Zizai's eyes. At that moment, Zhang Zizai vaguely saw what seemed to be a small yellow paper, which was instantly attached to the black figure. Ouch! The black figure suddenly fell to the ground, made no sound, and became motionless in the blink of an eye. Probably dead. If you look carefully, you can see that what was affixed to the black figure just now should be a piece of talisman paper, which is disappearing into the air at this time. Looking at the black shadow, it turned out to be a black cheetah. Different from ordinary cheetahs, it had a special pattern on its body, which was blood red, weird and cold. Zhang Zizai knew that this was the source beast's totem pattern, and it was the source of the source beast's power. Regarding the relationship between humans and origin beasts, the classics and history are relatively vague. It is said that a long time ago, the world was the world of origin beasts, and mortals were struggling to survive. It was not until the ancient gods gave totems that mortals could expand their territories. However, the source beasts clearly have totem patterns, but their totem patterns are not complete, and are more like simulating their natal totems. Most totem martial arts masters copy the totem patterns from their natal totems, and some directly learn to copy them from the source beasts, and then draw them on weapons, which is of great use. How is the origin beast born? It seems to be a mystery. Anyway, Zhang Zizhe only knows that there are origin beasts between heaven and earth, which are vicious, cruel, without wisdom, and attack mortals. Desolate Heaven Pass, 100,000 dead and wounded, it was the source beast that did it. It turned out to be a shadow leopard. This is a third-grade source beast. Without the mysterious Veins realm, it can't be dealt with. Xiao Yishan walked up to him, and he could be heard to be a little happy. Rest here, I'll think about this totem pattern and see if I can create a new talisman, Xiao Yishan ordered. Talisman. Zhang Zizhe remembered that there is a kind of very rich people in this world. They are called Totem Talisman Masters. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 33. Before we talk about the Totem Talisman Master, we have to talk about the Totem Spiritual Master. The ancestor clans collected and created various totem patterns among the totem patterns of their natal totems and origin beasts. They drew these totem patterns on the weapons with the spirit sword pen. Those weapons forged from the top spiritual minds, driven by the power of the totem, have become extremely lethal, and even have some special lethality. For example, the simplest flying eagle sword is extremely penetrating. If you want to become a totem spiritual master and forge top weapons, you must be a totem martial artist. If totem weapons could be forged and sold, the totem spiritual master would be extremely wealthy at the current price of totem weapons on the market. Cultivation itself requires a lot of resources, and cultivators with rich wealth will make faster progress. Therefore, the average totem martial artist will want to try to see if they have the talent to be a totem spiritual master. However, the talent of a totem spiritual master is relatively rare. Generally, there may only be one totem spiritual master out of 10,000 totem martial masters. Even rarer than the totem spirit master is the totem talisman master. They draw totem patterns on thin talisman paper, which requires higher attainments and extremely demanding talent requirements. In this world, in addition to totem weapons, there is another thing with more terrifying lethality, and that is totem talismans. A piece of talisman paper, with different patterns of totems, possesses infinite imaginative lethality, just like a charm. There are even many talismans with special effects. Talisman is a disposable item, most of which can produce one-time lethality. But the key point is that it is easier for a weak person to detonate a totem talisman than to hold a totem magic weapon to kill someone stronger than him. After all, the talisman is easy to use, but the power of the divine weapon is not so easy to trigger. This resulted in many powerful people needing to purchase totem talismans to protect the lives of their heirs, which were much more effective than totem magic weapons. This makes the price of totem talismans even more expensive. It also leads to the fact that it takes hundreds of thousands of people to give birth to a totem talisman master, and he is even richer. Talisman, that is a luxury product. Even the simplest. And now, Zhang Zizhe discovered that Xiao Yishan was actually a totem talisman master. No wonder Nangongke also had to respect him. All I can say is, I'm envious. It is said that a totem spiritual master only needs a spiritual sword and pen. As for the totem spiritual master, to create talismans, he needs the four treasures of the study: pen, ink, paper, and inkstone. The pen is a spiritual wood pen, similar to a scholar's writing brush. Of course, it is a totem magic weapon, and the writing brush part is the hair of the origin beast. Ink is made from the top elixir. Paper is talisman paper, and talisman paper has higher requirements. It is basically made from elixir level trees ground into pulp. Inkstone, this is simpler, it is a kind of spiritual mineral material, but it is better to have totem patterns, which will get twice the result with half the effort. These complex configurations sound high-end. It is said that for the totem talisman master, these four treasures of the study are all personal treasures. When night fell, in order to take care of Zhang Zizai and the other two, the four of them rested where they were. Xuanhuan was sitting on a thick branch, with his back against the tree. The shadow leopard's body had been disposed of by him, and the fur was still in his hands. He spread the fur, which was still shining with blood-red light in the darkness, on a branch, and began to carefully observe the lines, paying full attention. On his finger, at some point, there was a black antique writing brush, which was not dipped in ink. When he was studying, the brush was drawing in the air. Although it is not dipped in ink, it can still produce ripples, which is very strange. "Boss, I'm really tired. I'll practice first." Lu Dingxin was hungry, so he roasted the shadow leopard and ate it, and Zhang Zizai also shared some. He wants to reach the 6th level of martial life realm as soon as possible. Knowing that Zhang Zizai had caught up, he practiced even harder. He also wanted to rescue his father from Tahi prison. Zhang Zizai originally wanted to practice, but he was attracted by Xiaoyushan's movements. In this deep night, he watched with gusto the blood-red lines and the weirdness of the spirit wood pen. Vaguely, I can still explore a thing or two. In fact, in the past few years, he has read a lot of poetry and books. After all, he does not need to practice and has nothing to do. Although he is not good at writing poetry, he has a solid foundation in calligraphy and painting. Zhang Yunding will also praise his works when he comes back. Isn't this totem talisman master just calligraphy and painting? Maybe, I can do it too. Of course, he just thought about it wildly. After all, he also knew that it was too difficult for 100,000 people to produce a totem talisman master. When he was looking intoxicated and mesmerized, someone suddenly knocked on his shoulder. Zhang Zizai turned around and saw an alluring and beautiful face so close. The moment he met her eyes, Zhang Zizai completely lost his mind. There is an urge to hug the beauty in front of me in my arms. "Little cutie, come with me and find a place where no one is around." Zhu Xian's voice lingered on his ears. "Good." He agreed without thinking, stood up immediately, and followed the graceful figure in front of him, walking deep into the deep jungle in the dark night. Although it was dark, the woman in the white dress in front of her seemed to have a layer of pearl powder on her skin, exuding fluorescent light. When she looked back, her every smile was so beautiful. At this location, Xiaoyushan and Lu Dingxin could not see here. There was a small river next to it, and the water was gurgling, making a ding-dong sound. Zhang Zizai's heartbeat accelerated a lot. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. Sit here, sister will teach you to practice. Juxian smiled brightly, and that smile was enough to penetrate the heart. Zhang Zizai noticed that the white little fox between her eyebrows seemed to come alive, twisting and looking at Zhang Zizai. He sat cross-legged on the bluestone, and Juxian followed, bending her smooth legs and sitting almost close to him. The moonlight in the sky sprinkled on the two of them, and the atmosphere gradually became stronger. "Close your eyes and feel the world." Juxian smiled. Zhang Zizai was a little alert, staring at her. "You are not obedient, tickling you." She stretched out her slender hand and put it on Zhang Zizai's waist. Zhang Zizai trembled. Although there was no skin-to-skin contact, this beauty was really a fairy. He could only close his eyes obediently, listen to her, feel the world, stabilize, nourish his black dragon true chi, and use the dragon swallowing technique to make the fifth spiritual orifice, Xuanhuan appointment, more stable. Oh, Xuanhuan appointment is opened, no wonder it is so masculine. Juxian suddenly tapped on his Xuanhuan appointment. This position was very close, and Zhang Zizai couldn't help blushing. Blushing. So pure. Zhang Zizai was really annoyed and said, "Don't talk nonsense, I'm a playboy. I do bad things every day." "Really? Then what bad things can you do to me?" Juxian raised his chin and looked at him provocatively. Under the moonlight, the snow-white skin on her chest and the deep and bottomless ravines that were slightly revealed were really the most beautiful scenery in the world. Me, Zhang Zizai was stunned. The other party was so strong, what dared he do? Seeing him like this, she laughed non-stop again, and that look was really beautiful. "Okay, I won't tease you anymore. Go ahead and try something new." Zhang Zizai had no choice but to do as she said. In fact, he still trusted her. After all, she was his savior. When he calmed down and entered the state of cultivation, he seemed to be much calmer. The little guy who had been holding his head high also gradually calmed down. Under the moonlight, Juxian looked at the boy with his eyes closed, and his eyes seemed a little deeper. She gently stretched out her finger and tapped on Zhang Zizai's black dragon totem. Suddenly, she hummed softly, and the beautiful sound made Zhang Zizai burn. Hoo-hoo. For a moment, it seemed that the efficiency of the dragon swallowing technique increased several times in an instant, and a large amount of heaven and earth energy gathered towards his body. He didn't understand why there was such a change, but it was obvious that this process made his practice of the 9 extreme dragon drilling technique advance by leaps and bounds. Whether it was stabilizing the spiritual orifice or running the black dragon true chi, it was also swift and efficient. He didn't open his eyes. If he had opened them, he could see clearly that more of the heaven and earth's vitality was gathered on the body of Juxian. For a moment, her delicate body exuded crystal moonlight, and the heaven and earth's vitality was as solid as mist, condensing around her, and blending into her body from her snowy skin. The white little fox at the center of her eyebrows raised its head, opened its mouth, and directly swallowed the vast vitality. Such a magical scene, no one could hear or see it. Zhang Zizai had entered the state of cultivation. He didn't know what happened, it seemed that Juxian was helping him to cultivate. At this time, he was only grateful and deeply felt that his previous thoughts were somewhat disrespectful to the sister. The speed of this progress exceeded Zhang Zizai's imagination. Time passed by. "It's morning, hurry up, lazy bug." Suddenly someone patted his face, and Zhang Zizai woke up. Juxian was looking at him with a smile. Zhang Zizai stood up and looked at the world of heaven and earth. Suddenly, he felt that his ears and eyes were clearer. "Last night, it was a little secret between the two of us, no one is allowed to tell it." When he came down from the rock, Juxian whispered in his ear. "If others know, I won't talk to you anymore." She raised her pink fist and threatened Zhang Zizai, and her cute look made her even cuter. At this moment, Zhang Zizai just felt that his IQ, which he thought was good, seemed to be completely muddled in front of her. There will be another chapter at 1800 hours in the afternoon, and the updates will be roughly the same in the future. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 34. Zhang Zizai originally thought that such unforgettable intimate contact would never happen again after that night. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Unexpectedly, every night after that, when Lu Dingxing started practicing and Xiao Yushan was thinking about his talismans, the beautiful Juxian would pull him to a remote place and start the dreamlike practice. In the past few nights, Zhang Zizai was still immersed in her beauty, and his whole body was hot every moment. The more he did this, the more Juxian loved to tease him. For example, Her neckline seemed to be getting lower day by day, and the snow-white scenery was so beautiful under the moonlight that it was suffocating. However, what Zhang Zizhe experienced more deeply was his terrifying, efficient and stable progress. Every night was equivalent to his previous days of hard practice. This trip did not delay his cultivation, but greatly increased his efficiency. After a few days, the Black Dragon True Qi in Xuanhuan appointment has become very powerful and stable, almost on par with other spiritual orifices. This made Zhang Zizhe deeply understand that Juxian was not playing with him, but was really helping him to cultivate and become stronger. Of course, it seemed that she was also very satisfied with this process, or even she herself had some gains. Of course, this was just Zhang Zizhe's guess. As for what the reason was, Zhang Zizhe was not clear. Maybe it had something to do with the specialness of both parties. Especially Juxian's snow-white little fox totem. Zhang Zizhe once asked what her totem level was, and she actually said that it was almost the same as your father's. Do you believe it? Of course he didn't believe it, because it was one of the 8 super totems, and there was no fox in the 8 super totems. In the sequence of totems, foxes are really not strong totems. Regardless of these, Zhang Zizhe still respected her very much. Although she was mysterious and weird, but maybe this was the real her. Only once or twice, Zhang Zizhe opened his eyes and saw her under the moonlight, and he would be absent-minded for a long time, his eyes were a little dazed, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Boss, there is something I don't know whether I should say it or not. During the day, Lu Dingxing saw that the 2 people behind were far away, so he said secretly. If you have to fart, just let it out, don't hide it in your mouth. Zhang Zizhe was in a good mood these days and returned to his nature. I think this woman is so weird. What are you doing every night? She won't hurt you, will she? Lu Dingxing asked suspiciously. Don't think too much, she just guides me to practice, haha. Zhang Zizhe smiled awkwardly, he thought Lu Dingxing didn't know. Is that so? My mother told me some weird stories. The ghosts in those stories are so beautiful and can absorb men's yang energy. I'm afraid you will be sucked into a mummy, Lu Dingxing said nervously. Go to hell. Zhang Zizhe really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He also believed in such things. Hey, the big guy in front, if you say bad things about me again, I'll pull out your tongue. Her pretentiously sinister voice suddenly came from behind. Lu Dingxing was startled and said quickly, No, no, he praised you for being beautiful. He didn't expect that Juxian's ears were still so sharp even though they were so far away. However, Juxian was just trying to scare him. They continued to travel quickly. Lu Dingxing often went back to worship his ancestors, so his memory was quite good, and he basically took the shortest way. How long will it take? It should be about 3 days. Time passed quickly, and almost 10 days passed in a blink of an eye. During these 10 days, Zhang Zizhe's progress was much faster than when he was in the soul-enriching divine stone. In addition to the 9 extreme dragon drilling technique, he also practiced the Taixu universe soul refining technique for 1 hour every day. Now the difficult adversity made him understand that only persistence can lead to victory. He is no longer qualified to be lazy. To be honest, the effect of 1 hour of Taixu universe soul refining technique is more effective than 5 hours of sleep. After it was over, he was full of energy and vigor. Seeing him so full of blood and energy, Lu Dingxing was relieved. This was not the mental state of being sucked yang qi. That night, Juxian took him to a remote place again. Do you want to do something special and interesting tonight? Under the moonlight, in the hazy shadows of the trees, when Juxian spoke, her delicate little tongue slid between her red lips, and her teasing eyes were full of magic. No, I'm still young, and besides, I haven't met my parents yet. Zhang Zizhe is now naughty, so he won't be completely teased by her. Oh, you dare to tease me? Juxian knocked on his head and said, sit down quickly. Tonight, I will help you break through to the 6th level of Wyoming realm. The temperature should be about right. Really? Thank you, Sister Juxian. In fact, Zhang Zizai also knew that after 10 days of crazy progress, he had reached the point where he could break through again, but he felt that this was not a stable environment and he didn't know if he could try to break through. With her words, of course it was safe. He sat cross-legged under the shadow of the tree, and Juxian was still in front of him. Every night, they sat opposite each other like this. Calm your mind, concentrate your mind, and go find your 6th spiritual orifice. Zhang Zizai had experienced this process many times. The black dragon totem will find his 6th spiritual orifice for him. Now, the 6 spiritual orifices in the body have gradually formed the outline of the black dragon totem. The 6th spiritual orifice can complete this outline. Juxian stretched out her fingers and wandered on Zhang Zizai's body, from the Shenting point down to the Shenk point, and finally to the Xuanhuan point. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Then, still going down, at this position, her fingers can touch Zhang Zizai's little brother. Here, right, finally, her fingers touched Zhang Zizai's Qi-Chong point. At this time, Zhang Zizai's black dragon totem, wandering with the true Qi, just happened to find this place for him. How do you know? Zhang Zizai was surprised. Juxian smiled and said, Sister has many skills. In Zhang Zizai's eyes, she became more mysterious. Fingers, can you take them away? You can't break through like this. Such a beautiful woman, with her fingers pressed at this position, let alone practice, it's difficult to breathe. You're so ungrateful. How many people are begging me to touch him? Juxian rolled her eyes at him, moved her fingers upward, and finally placed them on the black dragon totem between Zhang Zizai's eyebrows. At that moment, that majestic feeling came again. Zhang Zizai knew that this was his best chance to break through. He held his breath, adjusted his breathing, forgot about the beauty, the world, and himself, and focused his whole body and mind on the 9 dragons transformed by the 5 black dragons' true Qi. Charge. With the help of Juxian in this strange way, the black dragon's true Qi was really fierce to the extreme. It rushed wildly and fiercely again and again, hitting Zhang Zizai's Qi-Chong appointment. From the outside, Zhang Zizai had been surrounded by white fog. In the white fog, Juxian looked at the boy in front of him seriously. This guy is actually quite hard-working. That's right. A responsible man who has fallen from grace should stand up. She saw Zhang Zizai's willpower, hard work, and sense of responsibility. In fact, he never relaxed during the many days of traveling. Under the unremitting impact, coupled with the terrifying effect of the 9 extreme dragon drilling technique, Zhang Zizai quickly completed what others needed a long time to complete. After all, the growth and stability of the Xuanhuan appointment provided a huge stability star. With the help of Juxian, when Zhang Zizai broke through the spiritual orifice and urgently needed the vitality of heaven and earth, as soon as the swallowing dragon suction technique was performed, the vast vitality of heaven and earth rushed in crazily. Thick white fog began to gather beside the body, more, and most of it entered Juxian's body. She was also practicing. But, even a small part, it was enough for Zhang Zizai. He didn't know why they were so efficient when they got together to practice. Juxian always reminded him that this was a little secret between the two of them and no one could tell it. Zhang Zizai agreed after all, so he decided to keep it secret. Of course, he still wanted to figure it out. Juxian said that now was not the time, and she would tell him when the time came. That night, Zhang Zizai successfully broke through to the 6th level of Wyoming realm, reaching the realm that Xuanhuan once reached. His combat power was also improved again. Your true Qi is equivalent to a heaven-level totem, and your black dragon totem should be heaven-level. After knowing Zhang Zizai very well, Juxian gave a judgment. In fact, Zhang Zizai also found that his true qi was so domineering that even Zhang Zhengzi, who had a ground-level totem, could not match it. This was also the reason why he could defeat Wan Kun, who had a yellow-level totem, when he was at the 5th level of Wuming realm. After all, there seemed to be a 3-level gap in the totem. Although the ordinary black dragon totem is a mysterious level totem, Zhang Zizai's totem may not be an ordinary black dragon totem. After all, there is a difference of 1 black petal. At this time, he became stronger and more powerful. Seeing this charming Juxian so close to him, his blood boiled and he was eager to try. What do you want to do?" Seeing Zhang Zizai looking at her so passionately, Juxian's mouth curled up slightly, and she looked at him with hazy eyes. "I play rock paper scissors to celebrate, okay." Zhang Zizai woke up in shock, but he couldn't offend her. She was scary when she teased people. "You are so talkative, you deserve a beating, stabilize your realm quickly." Juxian stretched out her smooth arm, tapped Zhang Zizai's head with her fingers, then stood up and left in a while. "Where are you going?" They stayed together every night, and she suddenly wanted to leave. Zhang Zizai was a little reluctant. "It's convenient, do you want to follow?" Juxian looked back in the moonlight. She looked so cute when she said a little vulgar words. Zhang Zizai could only laugh. How could he dare to follow? As soon as Juxian left, Lu Dingxing ran over with a big laugh. "You stepped on dog shit, so happy." "Boss, I broke through, the 6th level of Wuming realm, finally left you behind, haha." Lu Dingxing clenched his fists, showing his fierce strength. "Haha, awesome." Zhang Zizai laughed. "It seems that you are jealous of me." Lu Dingxing chuckled. "Really? But just now, I also broke through." Damn. "Are you still human?" Lu Dingxing wilted immediately. "Forget it, I won't compare with the people in your family, they are all monsters." Zhang Zizai laughed and joked with him until late at night. Juxian hadn't come back yet, so he continued to think about the Taixi Universe soul refining technique. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 35. When he found that the toughness of the soul was helpful for cultivation, he insisted on practicing the Taixi Universe soul refining technique every day and never gave up. Even though this technique did not seem to make him stronger on the surface, he still persisted. Late tonight, his soul came to the Taixi Universe again, slowly sank into the river of time, and endured the fierce scouring of the river water. "Awesome!" Zhang Zizai shouted. In fact, it hurt so much that he grimaced. But after all, it had happened many times, and he gradually got used to it. He set a goal for himself to sink a little deeper every day. The lower the river water, the more turbulent it is, and the more fierce the scouring of the soul. Zhang Zizai, suffering and happy. "At my speed, maybe it won't take long to catch up with Zhang Zhengzi. He wants to marry my sister, I castrate him, let's see how he can marry her." Zhang Zizai set a goal for himself. The recent fierce progress gave him great confidence. He has infinite talent, but it just takes time. Today's progress made him more confident, and even his courage in this river of time increased a lot. "Let's fight. Go down, down again." He gritted his teeth and kept sinking down. He remembered that he almost died the first time he went down to this position. But this time, he could still bear it, which showed that he had made great progress during this period, but it was not visible on the outside. In this endless world, he didn't have to worry about shouting. He could shout out loud. "Nangong Ke, Zhang Zhengzi, Nangong Feng Chen, Zhang En, Zhang Yan, Zhang Ling, I'm going to your ancestors. It hurts so much. Yanlong Huang, what the hell are you?" He endured and vented at the same time. Juxian. That perfect woman, why did she help him, why did she approach him, why did she treat him so well? He had never thought about it before, but when he saw Juxian, he was a little moved. He didn't care about the age difference of a few years at all. But the reality was that he felt that he was too far away from Juxian, and he didn't seem to be worthy of her. Actually, she was just teasing me. How could she like me in this state? Maybe in her heart, I am just a child. Zhang Zizai can still recognize the reality. But he longed for it. The young man still had some fantasies in his heart. He wanted to have her. Now he was still a long way away, but he wanted to work hard. To work hard, he had to endure hardships. What is the river of time? As long as I don't die, I will protect them. Mother, sister, sister. What kind of pain did he endure in Tai prison? Brother. Suddenly I thought of him. When he was around, I felt safe in my heart. No one dared to bully me. When he was young, he had to bear all the consequences of mischief. He was young and steady, a genius, and he joined the battlefield with his father as soon as he awakened his totem. A 9-year-old boy with outstanding military exploits. Why was such a proud child of heaven imprisoned in a place for criminals? The godly general, the dream of the girls of the dynasty. I want to bring you out intact. Blood is thicker than water, blood is connected, brothers fight together. In this river of time, he thought a lot, and unknowingly, his soul had sunk very deep. The pain he endured was completely suppressed by his desire to become stronger. I don't know, at that moment, he suddenly felt a tremor all over his body. The soul seemed to be transforming. That kind of feeling is indescribable, like a revelation. It's like a seed that suddenly sprouted. It's a transformation of life. The soul is just a consciousness, but now, he is clearer, and stronger. He feels that he has become incomparably stronger in the transformation, and can even go deeper. Is it a breakthrough? He knew that it should be that the soul has become stronger. He withdrew from the Taixi universe, and when he woke up and opened his eyes, he found that the world was different. In front of him was a dark world. His eyes scanned the surroundings. The veins of leaves, the hair on the legs of insects, the sound of the wind in the distance, the fragrance of the soil on the land, everything is so clear. It's like growing a lot of eyes, noses and ears, and knowing everything around. It's like I've come to a new world, an extremely clear world. But this is clearly the original world. What has changed is myself. Not only the senses, but even the brain, many things have become clearer, especially the various skills and battle tactics. Thinking back, it's so clear that it's scary. Battle tactics such as the Flame Dragon Heavy Fist can be run through in my mind in an instant. His thinking is extremely delicate. He knows that it must be his soul that has changed. For example, at this moment, he heard the subtle footsteps. Your soul realm has actually entered the heavenly spirit realm. A rough and surprised voice sounded in front of him, and the one who spoke was Xuanhuan. Is it the breakthrough in realm that has made him improve in this aspect? Juxian also appeared beside him, with a surprised look in his eyes. Zhang Zizai asked, Soul, is there still a realm? Xuanhuan looked at him with a slightly fiery look in his eyes, and he nodded and said, Of course. Zhang Yunding didn't teach you this. Zhang Zizai smiled bitterly and said, I just awakened the totem a few months ago. Before that, my father taught me these things, but it was useless. Then where did you get the method of cultivating the soul? My mother gave it to me. Zhang Zizai couldn't say that he brought it from the totem. Too many things have happened recently, and my mother is too busy to handle everything. Xuanhuan nodded. He did not ask about his origins, but said, Of course the soul has a realm. Ordinary people, even most totem warriors, have souls in one realm throughout their lives, called the spiritual realm. This is the initial stage. Some totem warriors, when they reach a very high level, their soul realm is also the spiritual realm. So the soul realm is a bonus for cultivation, but it is not an absolute factor. Of course, to go further and reach the peak, the soul realm must be improved, otherwise there is not enough understanding to break through to a higher level. But if you want to become a totem spiritualist or a totem talisman master, because these two identities have the highest requirements for a refined state of mind, you must have a sufficiently high soul realm. Especially for a totem talisman master, why does it take 100,000 people to produce one? It is because, to start, you must at least reach the heavenly spiritual realm. Am I in the heavenly spiritual realm now? Zhang Zizai asked. Xiaoyushan nodded and said, when I transformed just now, my soul fluctuated. I can feel it. When you reach the heavenly spirit realm, your comprehension, perception, etc. will be comprehensively strengthened. It will be of great help to your cultivation. At the same time, it will also give you the talent of a totem spiritual master, or even a totem talisman master. Zhang Zizai was a little surprised. He still envied those who could study totem patterns, especially totem talisman masters. Before the battle, they prepared a large number of totems on their bodies, and they could blow people to death without making any moves. It's already very good for you to reach the heavenly spirit realm at your age. Many totem talisman masters started after the age of 30. There are not many people of the same age in the entire dynasty. Xiaoyushan seemed a little excited. You are worthy of being Zhang Yunting's son. As far as I know, your brother and your father don't seem to have this talent. Your father's soul realm grew later, and at that time he had missed the best time to become a talisman master. Zhang Zizai nodded. He felt that the Taigzi universe soul refining technique was really terrible. Is there a stronger soul realm? Xiaoyushan said with a straight face, of course there is. Above the heavenly spirit realm, there is the empty spirit realm. The three realms of the soul realm, heavenly spirit realm and empty spirit realm are the three spirit realms. Going up, the soul will transform to a more terrifying level, called the void realm. There are two virtual realms, first the void spirit realm, and then the void god realm. That is not something you can understand now. Don't be too ambitious. Is the old man in the void realm? Zhang Zizai asked curiously. Xiaoyushan coughed twice and said, of course, I entered the void spirit realm a few years ago. Zhang Zizai couldn't help laughing. He just said that the void realm was very terrifying, and then he reached the void spirit realm, which clearly meant that he was very terrifying. It seems that this old man is also very proud. My fighting skills are far inferior to your father's, but in terms of talismans, 10 of your fathers are not as good as me, Xiaoyushan said seriously. The 9 immortals beside him suddenly blinked at Zhang Zizai, and then said in a delicate voice, Grandpa Xiao's attainments in talismans are unparalleled in the world. In this case, I wonder if you can accept a disciple and guide the son of an old friend. Maybe, you can teach a super genius in talismans. She is helping herself. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Zhang Zizai reacted and hurriedly half-knelt on the ground, saying loudly, please ask the senior to teach me the way of talismans. Whether I gain something or not, I will work hard. If I gain something, I will carry forward the senior's door and respect it for my whole life. To be honest, the way of talismans is what many totem martial artists dream of. Most people are unwilling to teach. After all, this is a skill to make money, especially unwilling to pass it on to outsiders. If he could get the guidance of this top-level totem master today, it would give Zhang Zizai another door to practice, and the benefits would naturally be huge. Xiaoyushan is also a popular person in the sacrifice temple. Under the provocation of Juxian and Zhang Zizai's request, Xiaoyushan was still very serious. He didn't buy it. He waved his hand and said, every year, countless people in the sacrifice temple want to worship me as a master, but I rejected them all. If you want me to accept you as a disciple, you must show extraordinary talent. Wait until you arrive at the sacrifice temple in the future, and then talk about it. Sure enough, he is still very rigid. However, I can guide you to get started first and see if you are suitable. The way of talismans is like the vast stars. If you get it, you will have unlimited wealth in cultivation. If you fight yourself, you will also gain the benefits of talismans. It is not a problem for one person to fight 100. Zhang Zizai certainly knew this. No matter how high the realm is, you are afraid of talismans and bombardment. Try it first, and I will see your ability when you arrive at the sacrifice temple in the future. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 36. No problem. Zhang Zizai actually understood. Xiaoyushan doesn't like to accept disciples based on favors. He needed Zhang Zizai to show his extraordinary talent, and let Zhang Zizai rely on his own abilities. In this way, it is more legitimate and fair. You know, Zhang Zizai now has a sensitive identity. Although the person who helped him was not that exaggerated, it was equivalent to being against the Yanlong royal family. Even, it was against the Yanlong dynasty. In the world, only those who worship the temple are not so taboo. Others were not willing to get close to him at all. Therefore, Zhang Zizai knew better how valuable it was for these two people to be able to help him now. I will give you a novice package. The disciples of the sacrifice temple also rely on this package to get started. Xiaoyushan handed Zhang Zizai a package. Inside, there is a spirit wood pen, 10 talisman inks, an inkstone, and hundreds of blank talisman papers. There is also the simplest speed talisman and the speed talisman totem pattern classics. In the classics, there is a complete guide. If you can draw a speed talisman before these 100 talismans are used up, you will be considered to have passed the first step of the test. Then come to me and I will give you the second step of the test. Zhang Zizai carefully kept these treasures. Xiaoyushan should have been tested in many steps. However, Zhang Zizai didn't think it was too much, because this testing process was actually a valuable learning process. Self-study is the most important ability. He recorded the essence of the speed talisman in the classics. The speed talisman, attached to the leg, can increase speed for a short time. Thank you, senior. Xiaoyushan patted him on the shoulder. Whether you have a master-disciple relationship in the future depends on your own destiny. Maybe, he also wants to have a disciple with top talent. However, the soul realm is not everything, so Zhang Zizai still has to work hard. Good. There is no need to say big words now, he just starts today and gives himself a new task. I'm envious. I also want to become a totem talisman master. Lu Dingxing admired from the side. Are you Lu Yuan's son? Xiaoyushan glanced at him. Yes. Xiaoyushan pursed his lips. Maybe he and Lu Yuan had some interactions. He didn't know where he came from, and took out a package again and said, your soul is actually okay, but don't think about it as a talisman master. This is the novice package for the totem spirit master. If you can complete it, you will come to the temple of sacrifice in the future. I will introduce you to master. Ah, Lu Dingxing quickly knelt on the ground, crying with gratitude. Xiaoyushan said disdainfully, why are you so excited? Even after a totem spiritual master is completed, he is still a blacksmith and rude. Zhu Xian chuckled and said, then you are just a salesman. Nonsense, this is my elegant profession, don't mix it up with blacksmiths, Xiaoyushan said. Zhang Zizai also smiled. This old man is actually quite interesting. Despite his stern face, he is actually kind-hearted. It was late at night and the two of them dispersed. Lu Dingxing was extremely excited. Boss, in the future, if one of us is blacksmithing and the other is selling calligraphy, will we make a fortune? In this world, it's not that easy to forge iron and sell letters. However, it is necessary to make a fortune. The decision made this time seems to be extremely correct now. Following these two people, I have indeed gained a lot. There was no rush for the Totem Talisman Master's affairs, so Zhang Zizai still focused on martial arts in the rest of the time. I guess it will arrive the day after tomorrow. The next day, when Xiao Yushan asked, Lu Dingxing looked at the dense woods around him and said, "When we came here, the fog was indeed much thicker. This is near my ancestral land. Walk 10 miles over there, there are some villages, which is my ancestral land, Black Soul Abyss, just north of my ancestral land. Lu Dingxing has been here too many times, so he is very sure." Juxian and Xiao Yushan were very satisfied with his guidance. "When we get to Black Soul Abyss, just stay outside. We'll take care of it and come out to find you." Yes. They were just responsible for leading the way. Zhang Zizai didn't bother to deal with the Black Soul Abyss. "By the way, I promised you before that if I successfully brought it to you, I would reward you with 2 battle techniques, right?" Juxian asked. Zhang Zizai nodded. He was quite looking forward to the 2 battle techniques she mentioned. "Well, it's almost done anyway. I'll give it to you. You can still think about it on the way. Now that you have the soul realm of the heavenly spirit realm and the Chen level battle tactics, there is basically no obstacle." As expected, she kept her word and took out 2 books, one was green and the other was gold. There was no totem pattern on the front page, indicating that these were indeed not the battle tactics of the Totem clan, let alone the Yanlong royal clan. The green tome is engraved with an emerald green divine dragon, while the golden tome is engraved with a golden divine dragon, both of which are very domineering. Zhang Zizai took it. This is the top grade Chen level battle technique Wind Dragon Demonic Shadow. It is a movement technique. After it is completed, it will come and go without a trace, like a ghost, with heavy dragon shadows. It can also cause changes in the surrounding airflow through the movement technique, and control the strong wind makes the enemies around you unable to stand due to the storm. Listening to her description, you can tell that this movement technique is definitely better than Wandering Dragon Step. Not only can the enemy not catch you, but it can also cause a storm to attack others. Zhang Zizai was looking forward to it. She introduced another one and said, "This is a pure destructive attack, called Golden Dragon Seal. I didn't look at it carefully, but it seems to be able to forge the arm like gold. With one seal, a huge rock can probably be shattered. Anyway, it is very powerful. It is considered the top among the Chen level battle tactics." This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. Needless to say, it is definitely better than the Flame Dragon Punch. The Black Dragon Totem should be of dark attribute. However, I don't have this type of battle tactics, so you can just practice it. It's not bad to be able to exert 80% of its power. These 2 battle tactics, one is wind and the other is gold. It seems that they have nothing to do with Zhang Zizai. With different attributes, the power they exert must be much worse. But the key is that Zhang Zizai has already exerted the power of Thunder Finger and Flame Dragon Punch to the extreme. Thunder and fire are even more violent in his hands. Now, he also wants to try whether wind and gold are the same. Is it a discount or beyond the ordinary? When Zhang Zizai took over the 2 battle tactics, Lu Dingxing beside him swallowed his saliva again. "You can't miss it," little Panda Juxian glanced at him and couldn't help laughing. Lu Dingxing is such a person, simple and pure, his eyes betray him when he wants something. "You have led the way for a good cause, so I will give you a top-grade Chen level battle tactic Violent Bear Heavy Punch, a set of boxing techniques that can fully demonstrate your strength advantage." Lu Dingxing no longer doubted Juxian at all, and hurriedly thanked her in various ways, treating Juxian as a goddess among the ancient gods. The 2 of them recited the battle tactics while they were on their way, understanding its mysteries, and looked very enthusiastic. At night, Zhang Zizai was also completely immersed in the practice of the two battle tactics. Near the Black Soul Abyss, Juxian didn't look for her at night. After all, she couldn't help with the practice of the battle tactics. The next day, the front immediately became gloomy. The forest was full of thick fog, which was black in color. It smelled of revenge and blood. There was even a faint roar of a wild beast. It was so fierce that it must be a source beast. When Zhang Zizai came here, he had goosebumps all over his body. He always felt that there were many ghosts around him looking at him. It should be in front. The fog is heavier inside and you will get lost. Juxian's beautiful eyes penetrated the black fog and looked into the depths. That thing should be inside. After they saw that it was almost done, they turned back and said to the two of them, "You just wait here. Don't walk around, otherwise I won't be able to find you when I come back. It may take 1 or 2 days. If the time is really long, more than 7 days, you can go back by yourself. Do you understand?" The two nodded quickly. Lu Dingxing had heard too many horror stories about the Black Soul Abyss, so he didn't want to go in. Staying here was actually scary. Before going in, Xiaoyushan looked around and suddenly took out a beige captive with strange and complex totem patterns on it. When Zhang Zizai saw the pattern, his eyes seemed to be trapped in it, and he was dizzy. There may still be source beasts around here. This deceleration talisman will save your lives. Zhang Zizai took it quickly. If you don't know how to use it, just throw it on the enemy. Juxian said, "This is the deceleration talisman drawn by Mr. Xiao himself. The effect is huge. It is different from the ones bought outside. When used on an enemy of the same martial life realm, it can at least reduce its speed by half and last for a quarter of an hour." So scary, Zhang Zizai was stunned for a moment. The speed is reduced by half, which is very scary. Many body movements are probably difficult to perform. He put it away carefully. After the explanation, Juxian and Xiaoyushan did not stop, entered it, and disappeared after a while. "Boss, we are here, there is no danger, right? I heard there are ghosts." "Your head." Zhang Zizai climbed up a tree and began to flip through the golden extreme dragon seal on the wide branch. "I'm coming too." Lu Dingxing also came up, watching the violent bear punch with great interest. Time passed quickly, 1 day, 2 days. Hasn't come out yet. Zhang Zizai had a bad feeling. He continued to wait for less than 7 days. On the second night, suddenly, there was a rustling sound below. Lu Dingxing exclaimed. "Someone." "Who?" Zhang Zizai was practicing, but was suddenly awakened. When he opened his eyes, 2 people under the tree also saw them. It turned out to be Zhang Zhengzi and Nangong Fengchen. How could they be here? Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 37. Zhang Zizai had imagined that he might encounter a powerful source beast at this location. But he never expected that these 2 people would appear in front of him. That Zhang Zhengzi was wearing black and red brocade clothes with fiery eyes. Next to him, Nangong Fengchen was still dressed in white and spotless in this dirty forest. In the dark night, the 2 sides met, and each other was shocked at first. Zhang Zizai thought in the light of the carbide fire, they couldn't have come here for no reason. It was probably because Nangong Ke and the others knew the purpose of offering sacrifices to the temple and followed them. As for why there were only 2 of them, it might be that Nangong Ke and others also entered the Black Soul Abyss. He was not worried about Juxian and the others. He knew very well that meeting these 2 people in this place was actually quite dangerous. Here, in the barren mountains, the night is dark and the wind is high. Even if he is killed or buried, no one will know about it. Zhang Zhengzi is a master of the mysterious vein realm who has surpassed the martial life realm. Although Nangong Fengchen is not at the mysterious vein realm, he is not far behind. They joined forces to kill Zhang Zizai and the two of them, who looked like they were just chopping melons and vegetables. What a coincidence, you are here too. After Zhang Zhengzi was initially surprised, a strange sneer curled up at the corner of his mouth. He looked at Nangong Fengchen next to him. The two men's eyes were exactly the same. No matter how loud you make in this barren mountain, no one can hear it. No one seems to know anything that happens, brother Nangong Fengchen said meaningfully. Just assume that the second son of King Nan is missing. Then through investigation, it was found that he was taken away by someone from the temple. Anyway, it should have nothing to do with us, right? Zhang Zhengzi narrowed his eyes. He knew that Lu Dingxing and the two people must have led the way, and the people worshipping the temple had already entered the Black Soul Abyss. Nangong Ke and the others have also been in there for a day or two, but they haven't come out yet. This shows that they are unlikely to come out in a short time. They are so bold. In fact, Zhang Zizai knew that if Nangong Ke was there, they might not take action because he was more worried about the consequences if he was discovered. But these two are both fierce young men, especially Zhang Zhengzi, who has been cruel and ruthless since he was a child, so he won't think about it so much. Zhang Zizai is the obstacle for him to become the new Kailan king. As long as Zhang Zizai dies, Zilan Mansion will have no chance. The future Kailan royal family will belong to him. In front of him was the person he had been jealous of since he was a child. Right now is the best opportunity to kill silently. Do it. One person at a time, cleanly. Zhang Zhengzi's eyes flashed, like a sharp sword piercing the night. Walk. The two of them, at the 6th level of the martial life realm, would be dead if they met one of them, let alone two of them. Mr. Xiao is really stingy. He only gave us one deceleration charm. It would be great if he gave us two. One piece is simply not enough. Even if it hits Zhang Zhengzi, Nangong Fengchen can still entangle them. The gap in age and level is really too big. Zhang Zizai's scalp was numb. This was truly a moment of life and death. He and Lu Dingxing hurriedly ran back. Fortunately, it's dark now, and there's still black mist everywhere. As long as you escape a little distance, you can probably get rid of your opponent. There was a burning pain behind him, and when he looked back, he saw the cold eyes of the two people behind him getting closer and closer. Murderous intent is already looming overhead. Escape, where can you go? Zhang Zizai. I have to say, you are not very lucky. Don't worry. I'll bury you a little deeper later so your bodies won't be eaten clean by wild beasts. Ha ha. The two of them were even in a playful mood like a cat catching a mouse. Lu Dingxing's face turned red, he gritted his teeth and said, I stopped them, you. Before he finished speaking, Zhang Zizai slapped him in the face and glared at him. I told you earlier, don't say such things to me. Do you think I'm a human being if you let me run away alone? Having ever imagined this situation, Zhang Zizai warned him not to sacrifice himself. However, the reality now is that if they don't play this trick, neither of them will survive. Boss, since they started taking action, they will definitely silence them. They are also worried about leaking the news. If you can leave alive, you can avenge me in the future. Lu Dingxing looked a little ferocious. Walk. Zhang Zizai pulled his cuffs to prevent him from doing something stupid. Seeing that the opponent was approaching quickly, the majestic heat wave on Zhang Zhengzi's body had already burned to his back, causing burning pain. I have a way to save my life. In a desperate situation, you can see a person clearly. Lu Dingxing may not be that flexible, but his innocence and loyalty have made Zhang Zizai regard him as his brother countless times. Suqinyu is no longer here, and Zhang Zizai cherishes him even more. It is impossible for him to accept this method of one person dying and one person living. After hearing Zhang Zizai say there was a way, Lu Dingxing finally gave up. In this instant, Zhang Zizai adjusted his direction and rushed towards the Black Soul Abyss. The black mist ahead suddenly thickened. Black Soul Abyss. Lu Dingxing was suddenly furious. Although the Black Soul Abyss is dangerous, at least it can save lives for now. Walk. The two of them tried their best. It's really fun. You're quite brave. Behind him, Nangong Fengchen and Zhang Zhengzi smiled. They have never entered the Black Soul Abyss, so they don't know what it's like inside, but they estimate that if they kill two people by charging dozens of feet, it won't be a big problem. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Zhang Zhengzi was confident that he could kill two people within 10 breaths. Zhang Zizai also gritted his teeth and went deep into the Black Soul Abyss. He suddenly found that the surrounding trees had withered and turned into black dead trees. There were no fallen leaves on the ground. Even the ground was scorched black and the surroundings were full of putrid smell. The smell, a thick black mist, surrounds the surroundings. Behind him, there was a hot wave of fire before, but as he ran, it disappeared. Zhang Zizai suddenly stopped. He was sweating profusely. He looked back and saw the darkness behind him. Zhang Zhengzi and Nangong Fengchen were nowhere to be found. Run, hey, have you gotten rid of it already? Great. Lu Dingxing was also sweating profusely and panting. He had really used up all his energy to run just now. What a hairy guy. Zhang Zizai frowned and looked around. There were black mist, black soil, and dead trees everywhere. Inside, there was an extra sense of spinning, and there was no direction. Just now, which direction did we come in from? Zhang Zizai turned around a few times and felt a little dizzy. This way, or this way, Lu Dingxing was also confused. Because he wanted to get rid of Zhang Zhengzi and the others, he kept changing directions. Now he didn't know how to get out. It's over. It's probably difficult to get out. Zhang Zizai was depressed. As soon as they finished speaking, a low beast roar came from not far away. It was very violent, and it was probably a source beast with terrible lethality. This made the two of them stay silent and did not dare to move. The ground shook slightly, which was enough to show the huge size of this beast. The two of them were sweating coldly and could only stare at each other with wide eyes. It's over, we just came out of the tiger's den and entered the wolf's den again. The dark circles under Lu Dingxing's eyes became heavier. Zhang Zizai took a deep breath and said, Xuanhuan, I still don't believe it. My memory is absolutely amazing. Come with me and I'll take you out in less than half an hour. Lu Dingxing smiled and said, I knew you were capable, boss. In a blink of an eye, half a day passed. The two stood stunned on the spot. Where is this? I don't know. The surroundings have not changed at all, there is still thick black fog, scorched earth, and dead trees that look like devil's claws. Zhang Zizai's head got bigger. They couldn't find the road at all, the world was spinning. No wonder the 9 immortals and the others hadn't gone out yet. What could they find in here? What the hell is this place? Zhang Zizai could only curse. Not only was he unable to get out, but he was also on tenterhooks. In just half a day, he probably had passed by several terrifying source beasts. If I hadn't been careful, it would probably have been turned into feces by now. For a moment, I was on tenterhooks and broke out in cold sweat, like two little rabbits running into the jungle of lions and wild wolves. I think we might die if we wander around like this. Lu Dingxing trembled and looked around. In fact, Zhang Zizai also had such a premonition. What should we do? Maybe we can meet Mr. Xiao and Miss 9 Immortals. It would be nice to have a safe place to stay until then. It seems that the time has come to test character and luck. Zhang Zizai looked at the vast black fog, wondering what would happen next. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 38. Lucky is really good. 2 hours later, they found a cave along the mountain wall that they had finally found. The cave was not big and was very smelly. There was a huge beast skeleton inside. They moved rocks and soil to block the small cave entrance, leaving a few holes so that they could see the situation outside. In this way, they felt a little safe in this dead and gloomy place. Finally, they could breathe. This ghost place is so scary. No wonder many hunters came in and never left. Look what this is. Zhang Zizai saw a human skull inside the beast corpse. This person was eaten. Lu Dingxing shivered again. Intuition told them that in such a place, with their strength, wandering around outside was really looking for death. Fortunately, there was this cave. Although Zhang Zizai was actually anxious to go back, he had no choice but to wait here. Maybe Juxian and the others would pass by. They were at the entrance of the cave, observing the movements outside. Such a time is too painful. You keep an eye on me, I'll practice. Anyway, there is nothing else to do. Zhang Zizai directly took out the Wind Dragon Demon Shadow and Golden Extreme Dragon Seal to think about. After the soul reaches the heavenly spirit realm, he really feels that even the upper grade Chen level battle tactics are not difficult at all. It is not much different from the practice of Thunder Finger at the beginning. The high realm of the soul allows him to quickly forget the killing environment and immerse himself in the two battle tactics. All the day is spent on the two battle tactics, constantly practicing. Lu Dingxing was shocked when he saw it. Boss, are you a monster? I haven't understood the violent bear punch yet, why are you practicing it? Don't compare with me, you will feel inferior, Zhang Zizai pouted. Take my punch. He suddenly appeared in front of Lu Dingxing and punched. In an instant, the black dragon's true energy swept, and the domineering power gathered on his arm. For a moment, his fingers seemed to transform into black metal, extremely hard. This is the initial power of the Golden Extreme Dragon Seal. Juxian originally thought that he might not be able to exert the full power of the Golden Extreme Dragon Seal, but she was wrong. Zhang Zizai knew that the Golden Extreme Dragon Seal was a perfect match for him after just practicing. With the attribute transformation of Dark Destruction, he should be able to exert more than 120% of the explosive power of the Golden Extreme Dragon Seal. I am indeed omnipotent. Wind, fire, water, and electricity are all under my control. Zhang Zizai was particularly surprised after trying it. He can exert extraordinary lethality with Thunder Finger, Flame Dragon Heavy Fist, Wind Dragon Demon Shadow and Golden Extreme Dragon Seal. Time passed by. Although no one could see outside. But at least, Zhang Zizai's two upper-grade Chen-level battle tactics have made great progress. From the time he got this battle tactic to now, it has been a total of 8 days. He has mastered both battle tactics and can at least use them in battle. In terms of combat power, there has actually been a huge improvement. It should be no problem to fight against the 8th level of Wuming Realm alone. The Kailan meeting has not been long. His progress has brought him strong confidence, because he knows that his brothers did not improve at this speed. Of course, it was Sister Juxian who helped me to reach the 6th level of Wuming Realm. Zhang Zizai now hopes that she can find him. She may have found what she wants, and when she saw that we were not there, she went back, Lu Dingxing said dejectedly. She has been in here for 4 or 5 days. The situation, he said, is actually the most likely to happen. It is safe to stay in this cave, but Zhang Zizai is also anxious as time passes. Zhang Zhengzi, Nangong Fengchen, and others will definitely continue to make trouble when they return. The journey back will take about 10 days. I must get out as soon as possible, otherwise my sister will be isolated and helpless. This is what Zhang Zizai is most anxious about. Seeing time pass, he can't sit still. Forget it, let's fight, maybe we can find a way out. Well, I don't want to wait here endlessly. They all have responsibilities. The two made a decision and left the cave. Because the two fighting tactics have improved, Zhang Zizai is more confident. However, the black fog that covered the sky soon trapped them. After an hour of groping, it seems that they are still standing still, and even returned to the cave once or twice. It's impossible. How can you come back if you keep walking in one direction? Lu Dingxing's hair was caught by him. However, since they are out, they don't want to give up. They are eager to return to the great Zhongqing city. There are people they want to protect there. This time, they are really desperate and have to go back. Zhang Zizai keeps trying to calm himself down. They are cautious and sum up their experience. It's not okay to keep going forward. Observe the ground more and judge from the traces of the soil. Make more marks. With the method, there seems to be some changes. They seem to see hope. Even the black fog around them seemed to be less. Their mood also improved. But at this moment, there was a rustling sound from the front. It seemed that there was a figure rushing towards them quickly. He came too fast and he couldn't dodge. Even though the black fog was thick, he almost hit him. The man was wearing white clothes, but he was covered with a lot of mud. His hair was also messy and there seemed to be some scratches from wild animals on his body. The two sides faced each other directly. Nangong Feng Chen. Zhang Zizai didn't expect to meet him again. This means that they also entered the Black Soul Abyss and should not be able to get out. But why is it only him? Where is Zhang Zhengzi? He couldn't be dead. After all, it's so dangerous here. You are not dead yet. Nangong Feng Chen was also very surprised when he saw them. Both sides were surprised. Zhang Zizai suddenly saw that he had a package tied to his waist. A stream of black air came out from the gap, giving Zhang Zizai a strange feeling. He had seen this kind of thing. Boss, that's the source of evolution, Lu Dingxing said in Zhang Zizai's ear. I got the giant force evolution source, and evolved from the yellow level totem to the black level totem. This is the breath of the evolution source, Lu Dingxing said seriously. Zhang Zizai's eyes became cold. How could he have the evolution source on him? He didn't have it when he came here, which means he got it in the Black Soul Abyss. Sister Juxian, will their mission be this evolution source? Zhang Zizai guessed in his heart. When they guessed the evolution source, Nangong Feng Chen smiled. Forget it, I didn't deal with you a few days ago. If you leave here, it will be troublesome. Today I will finish it and take your lives. In a place like the Black Soul Abyss, I don't have to dig a pit to bury you. He really has the capital to say this. After all, he is 17 years old and the 9th level of the Wuming realm. Within this year, he will impact the Xuanmei realm and open the Xuanmei. He is not much worse than Zhang Zhengzi. Zhang Zizai and the others only have a little idea about the evolution source. And Nangong Feng Chen wants to kill them. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 39. The three of them looked at each other coldly in this remote place of deathly silence and darkness. During these days, Zhang Zizai clearly remembered the shameless and despicable methods, aggressive momentum, and superior contempt between him and Zhang Zhengzi. The dark night and high wind can arouse people's murderous intentions. Boss, withdraw. Lu Dingxing could naturally feel the murderous intent in their eyes. It shouldn't be difficult to escape in a place like this. After all, they all escaped last time. Try it. Zhang Zizai's eyes were fixed on Nangong Feng Chen. Although Lu Dingxing was 3 levels behind his opponent, he was also very courageous. Hearing Zhang Zizai say these 2 words, his mind was agitated. This bitch. Although he looks simple and honest, he has actually been a maniacal figure in fights since he was a child. When he goes crazy, he can't hold back several cows, so he is nicknamed the Furious Panda. Just you, Nangong Feng Chen thought they would escape and was ready to chase them. Unexpectedly, they still want to fight to the death with themselves. He burst out laughing, laughing so hard that he couldn't help but clapped his hands and said, "I'm laughing to death. I didn't expect that there are such stupid people. Yes, you definitely have the strength to challenge me. Don't run away. Run away, that is the behavior of a grandson, you have become a grandson once." Zhang Zizai and Lu Dingxing looked at each other, one on the left and the other on the right, surrounding Nangong Fengchen. Seeing the evolution source hanging on his waist, Zhang Zizai's eyes became a little hot. "Maybe it's suitable for you, or your family and friends." Nangong Fengchen felt their gazes, and his eyes became even colder. "You also see things you shouldn't see. Zhang Zizai, it's a pity that you can't see your sister get married. You can't watch Zhang Junjian's head fall to the ground. Really?" Zhang Zizai's eyes gradually became deep and cold. When the black dragon's true energy from the 6 spiritual orifices began to surge violently, the aura on his body suddenly surged. The black energy was particularly awe-inspiring. The black dragon surrounded by black petals between his eyebrows seemed to come to life, looking at Zhang Zizai's opponent indifferently. "The dragon has reverse scales, which will kill you if you touch it." He could no longer control the destructive murderous intent in his body. He. Nangong Fengchen opened his arms, and suddenly, a strong wind blew. The phantom of a rock appeared behind Nangong Fengchen. The rock had huge wings and fierce eyes. Mysterious level totem, Storm Sky Peng. Among the Xian level totems, the Storm Sky Peng is the most outstanding one, even similar to many Earth level totems. After all, this is the totem of the 9 major clans. Compared to the other 9 major clans, Kunpeng of the Tianpeng clan has another important role. At this time, Zhang Zizai could see that the phantom of the Storm Sky Peng was condensed on Nangong Fengchen's body. The body part disappeared, but the wings remained on Nangong Fengchen's back. Buzz! The phantom wings vibrated. For a moment, Nangong Fengchen's legs lifted off the ground and flew up. Although he didn't fly very high, he looked particularly terrifying and chilling as he flew through the air. This is the function of totem. In addition to affecting the true energy, cultivating talents, and determining spiritual practice, the natal totem also has another important role, that is, totem manifestation, also called totem characteristics. The manifestation and characteristics of each totem are different. For example, the Storm Sky Peng totem can manifest its totem wings and be used by Nangong Fengchen. For example, some weapon totems can be manifested and attached to weapons to enhance the power of magical weapons. There are even many special effects. As for what the Black Dragon totem will manifest, Zhang Zizai doesn't know yet. But he felt that the changes in the 9 Immortals totems when practicing with him should be a kind of totem manifestation, which can also be said to be a kind of totem characteristic. In terms of totem manifestation, the Tianpeng tribe has a huge advantage. Most of the Tianpeng tribe can fly in the air. "It's flying," Lu Dingxing was startled. "It's okay. It's useless to fly here. There is darkness everywhere and flying is not necessarily an advantage. Be tough." Behind Nangong Fengchen, the totem wings suddenly vibrated, and for a moment, the violent wind swept fiercely, even blowing away a lot of black mist. In this strong wind, Zhang Zizai and Lu Dingxing were unable to stand firmly. He took action. Nangong Fengchen's speed suddenly increased greatly. Cloud turning palm. He used the high-grade Chen-level battle technique and charged directly at Zhang Zizai. As for Lu Dingxing, he didn't even count as an opponent in his eyes. Under the storm, the Genkai condensed on his palm, forming a huge palm that covered Zhang Zizai's head. It can fly and is even more powerful. Nangong Fengchen is naturally merciless, and the killing intent in his eyes speaks volumes. He was a few years older, and his sense of superiority at this time was naturally detached. Roar! Lu Dingxing roared angrily. His giant panda totem has a violent state, and the totem manifests, greatly enhancing his strength. At this time, Ruiruao's aura enveloped his whole body. When he saw Nangong Fengchen attacking Zhang Zizai, without saying a word, he picked up the black rock on the ground and threw it at Nangong Fengchen in the air. Facing this rock, Nangong Fengchen turned a blind eye. He only wanted to kill Zhang Zizai first. The power of this palm was indeed terrifying. Zhang Zizai didn't dare to touch it head-on, and there was no need for him to do so. Wind Dragon Demonic Shadow. Facing such an opponent, he did not dare to hold anything back. This skill was used, and in the storm of Nangong Fengchen, a black magic wind suddenly rolled up. This chapter is not over yet, please click the next page to continue reading. This magic wind is cold, strange, and sharp. It is out of Nangong Fengchen's control, like countless dragon shadows, rolling and whistling, with Zhang Zizai as the center, a large area for him to control. How can you control the wind? This shocked Nangong Fengchen. The cloud-turning palm smashed down, cracking the ground, but Zhang Zizai disappeared in front of him. Bang! Unfortunately, Lu Dingxing's rock hit him directly on the forehead. Nangong Fengchen was knocked back a few steps, his head was broken and bleeding, he was too arrogant. No matter how strong you are, it's useless if you can't hit anyone. Playing with my Tianpeng clan, you are showing off your skills in front of an expert. After wiping the blood from his forehead, Nangong Fengchen's eyes were already bloodshot. Stop bragging. Can you touch the corner of my clothes? Zhang Zizai chuckled. Nangong Fengchen was furious, and the wings behind him were shaking wildly. The speed was simply terrifying. Zhang Zizai also bit the bullet. Just treat it as practicing this body movement, come on. He was not particularly proficient in this Wind Dragon Demon Shadow. Facing an opponent who also played this storm, he regarded it as stimulating potential. Anyway, he did not confront Nangong Fengchen head-on. He turned into a dragon shadow, mixed in with many dragon shadows, shifting left and right. Nangong Fengchen's cloud-flipping palm kept hitting the ground and trees, making the surroundings even more messy, but it just didn't touch the corner of Zhang Zizai's clothes. The Soul Realm may not be useless in battle. Zhang Zizai knew very well that his senses were particularly clear, so he could make better predictions. Nangong Fengchen's slightest movement could not escape his eyes. Bang! While Nangong Fengchen was frantically chasing Zhang Zizai, Lu Dingxing was not idle. He was also quite wretched. He hid far away and suddenly picked up the rocks on the ground, picked the biggest one, smashed it on Nangong Fengchen's head, and ran away. If Nangong Fengchen chased him, Zhang Zizai would chase him and harass him. You two beasts, after fighting like this, Nangong Fengchen was extremely embarrassed, covered in blood and dirt, but Zhang Zizai and his partner were fine. Look carefully, the ones who were beaten are beasts, Zhang Zizai sneered. Humph, Nangong Fengchen was not a fool. He knew that if he continued like this, he would be angry to death. After weighing the pros and cons, he felt that Lu Dingxing was much easier to catch than Zhang Zizai. He suddenly turned around. This time, he didn't care about Zhang Zizai at all. He only had one goal, to kill Lu Dingxing first. If Lu Dingxing died in the battle, Zhang Zizai would definitely take revenge, and then he could successfully kill both of them. When Lu Dingxing saw Nangong Fengchen's eyes were bloodshot and he was rushing towards him, he knew it. Without saying anything, he turned around and left. You're dead. Nangong Fengchen's wings fluttered, and his speed increased again, smashing towards Lu Dingxing like a meteor. He used another battle tactic, the storm punch. With one punch, a surging air wave erupted, and the storm formed an iron pillar-like existence, smashing towards Lu Dingxing. Somersault. Behind him, Zhang Zizai saw that Lu Dingxing's life was in danger and roared. Lu Dingxing didn't know the situation behind him, he only knew that danger was coming. They grew up together, and they had a lot of tacit understanding, which was not comparable to ordinary people. As soon as he finished saying the 3 words somersault, Lu Dingxing rolled on the ground. With this roll, the air wave of the storm punch hit the back of his head, hitting the ground and shaking out a pit. If he didn't do a somersault, the storm punch would have hit the back of his head and burst. At this moment, it was extremely dangerous. But it also aroused the anger of Zhang Zizai and Lu Dingxing. This person wanted to kill them without mercy. Zhang Zizai had already caught up with Nangong Fengchen at this time. "Sissy, watch out," he suddenly threw something. Nangong Fengchen turned back suddenly and saw nothing. The next moment, a beige talisman paper was pasted on his forehead. This was Zhang Zizai's biggest reliance today. Speed was Nangong Fengchen's strength. The deceleration talisman given by Xiaoyushan was saved until today and finally put to good use. Talisman. Nangong Fengchen stretched out his hand and grabbed it. Before his fingers touched it, the talisman paper turned into powder and melted on his forehead. A totem pattern covered his storm sky eagle totem. Panda. Before he succeeded, Zhang Zizai shouted loudly. Still tacit understanding. Lu Dingxing rolled up from the ground, and suddenly accelerated suddenly, rushing towards Nangong Fengchen like a giant bear, like a human flesh star. Nangong Fengchen smiled contemptuously, and was about to turn around and attack Lu Dingxing. However, this turn, he turned strangely and uncoordinatedly. Not only the speed of action, but also the speed of all aspects, was reduced by half. This was the moment he was least adapted to. Maybe he had adapted to the speed being halved and could easily beat Lu Dingxing back, but at this moment, he was completely stunned. His head turned around, but his body didn't turn around. In this moment, a lot of changes. Lu Dingxing hit his back like a giant beast, and his thick arms, like iron pliers, held Nangong Fengchen's hands from behind. His physical strength advantage was completely erupted, and Nangong Fengchen was like a little white rabbit hugged by a panda. For a while, the 2 little arms really couldn't be pulled out. Blast your ass, Lu Dingxing's forehead hit the back of Nangong Fengchen's head fiercely. When the sound was extremely crisp. The forehead of a human body is always harder than the back of the head, so this collision made Nangong Fengchen dizzy and the world in front of him blurred. In this blurry moment, he was horrified to see that another crazy person had rushed in front of him. That was Zhang Zizai. At this time, Zhang Zizai was surrounded by black mist, like a destructive black dragon rushing out of the darkness. His eyes were cold and terrifying, like the god of death who harvested lives. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 40. Nangong Fengchen saw his palm. At this time, Zhang Zizai's palm turned black. It looked like it was no longer a human palm, but steel. In that palm, an angry dragon was roaring towards Nangong Fengchen. That was the golden dragon seal. Of course, Zhang Zizai changed, and the golden dragon seal turned black. However, the destructiveness of the explosion was even more fierce. This was a completely enhanced golden dragon seal. No, don't, Nangong Fengchen was dizzy, and his hands had not yet been pulled out of Lu Dingxing's arms. The effect of the deceleration talisman still existed. When he was not used to it, he even changed the voice and speed of his speech. After losing his voice, it was more like a woman's voice. He was indeed so scared that his voice was hoarse. He even lost control of his urine. At that moment, Zhang Zizai made him feel death. He didn't expect that there would be this moment, from heaven to hell. However, this moment came, and even Lu Dingxing, who was 3 realms lower than him, made him afraid at this time. How can a person's body have such strength? In fact, the biggest contributor is the deceleration talisman, which is what put Nangong Fengchen into a desperate situation. Of course, the cooperation between Zhang Zizai and Lu Dingxing is also unique. Death loomed, Nangong Fengchen couldn't help shivering. And Zhang Zizai rushed coldly. Nangong Fengchen said all the words, did all the things, Zhang Zizai will not forget. It's not that I don't want to take revenge, it's not the time yet. Now, the time has come. The golden dragon seal, that palm, is also a seal, directly imprinted on the chest of the struggling Nangong Fengchen. Buzz. His body shook more than 30 times at that moment, and then softened instantly. Nangong Fengchen, bleeding from the corners of his mouth, his eyes widened and stared at Zhang Zizai. There was endless fear hidden in it. He died. Perhaps, he had never expected that he, the 9th level of Wuoming Realm, would be dealt with by two 6th level Wuoming Realm people together. In the end, there was no time to regret or beg for mercy. Because Zhang Zizai would not kill himself and his brother out of kindness at this time. Perhaps the fear before death will accompany him to the underworld. Of course, he is still being hugged tightly by Lu Dingxing. Wow, rub it, Lu Dingxing didn't know he was dead yet, and his head was still hitting the back of his head. Brother, that's the back of the head, not the anus, stop hitting it. Zhang Zizai was almost exhausted after playing the golden dragon seal, and was now bending over and gasping for breath. Rubbish, Lu Dingxing threw it on the ground with disgust. They looked at each other, their eyes full of thrill and relief. Just now, I almost died. It was still you who gave me strength, brother. The reason why Lu Dingxing was so crazy just now was actually because he was scared. Death passed by him and he was going crazy. Somersault, deceleration charm, and then use physical strength to control the opponent, and finally the golden dragon seal. This continuous cooperation was not practiced before. It was all in the flash of lightning, and the tacit understanding between the two people who had been peeing together since childhood. Zhang Zizai finally caught his breath. He looked at Nangong Fengchen with a deep gaze. To be honest, I didn't expect to really win. In fact, this battle was a brand new experience for them, and the process was really thrilling. Of course, the most unexpected thing was this grandson. Zhang Zizai gritted his teeth. Killed again. But this time, he felt the least guilty. The world is like this, don't kill him, wait for him to kill them both. Take the source of transformation, don't touch his other things. Although he was killed, no one must know. Lu Dingxing hurried over and picked up the package. Boss, how do we deal with this thing? Lu Dingxing handed it over. Zhang Zizai said, maybe it's what Sister Juxian and the others want. Now that we've seen them, we should give it to them. After all, they've helped us so much. A drop of water should be repaid with a spring of water. This is the principle of life that Zhang Yunting taught him. It would be best if they could give them something that others had gone through so much trouble to find. Otherwise, Zhang Zizai would feel bad if he kept accepting their favors. Okay. Lu Dingxing didn't think too much about it. He was a very straightforward person, simple and straightforward, and occasionally a little bit temperamental. It was very comfortable to play with him. Zhang Zizai took the evolution source. Although he said he didn't want it, it was okay to take a look at it. The two of them opened the package with their eyes wide open, as seriously as they tore the skin of baked sweet potatoes together when they were children. It was a black stone, only the size of a palm. A closer look revealed that on this stone, there was a green-faced, fanged human-like beast engraved, with black hair all over his body and scarlet claws, like 10 scimitars in his hands. The thick black fog was coming out from the stone. This was a very strange thing, not an ordinary stone. According to the experience of our ancestors, strange things were the source of evolution. According to legend, the source of evolution was given by the ancient gods, so it was so strange and ever-changing. Zhang Zizai was more certain that this was a source of evolution. Wrap it up, this is a treasure, Zhang Zizai muttered. He wanted to leave here as soon as possible. Just as he was about to wrap it up, Something strange happened. The evolution source suddenly vibrated, and then it moved on its own. Whoosh. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. In the flash of lightning, the black stone hit Lu Dingxing's forehead. To be precise, it should be the giant panda totem between the eyebrows. What the hell? Zhang Zizai was stunned. I have never heard that the evolution source can move on its own and can hit Lu Dingxing's forehead. The strangest thing is that after hitting it, it actually melted in and disappeared. Then, Lu Dingxing rolled his eyes, straightened his legs, fell to the ground, and his whole body suddenly stiffened, almost foaming at the mouth. Oh my god, buddy, you are not going to die. Zhang Zizai was stunned. He went to help him and found that this guy's body was as hard as a coffin board. Only the giant panda totem between the eyebrows seemed to be constantly twisting and turned into a black vortex, constantly sucking things around. Black vortex? This is the evolution of the totem. When he evolved from the panda totem to the giant panda totem, Zhang Zizai was right next to him. He also had a black vortex, but he didn't freeze all over, as if he was dead. You. My troll evolution source. When Zhang Zizai didn't know what to do, he suddenly heard a familiar voice. Juxian. When he turned around, a woman in a white dress instantly appeared in front of him in the darkness. However, she landed next to Lu Dingxing, looking at Lu Dingxing with tears in her eyes. Her expression was extremely resentful. Zhang Zizai was a little confused. Did she swear just now? However, a beauty is a beauty. Even if she swears, it's still so nice and beautiful. Today, all 3 chapters have been updated. If there is no update at 1800 hours in the afternoon, don't wait, there will be more Swallowing Heaven records in the evening.